imperfection is what makes us human, right?
Mm.
And so whimsy is also this move towards living an imperfect life and having things that are messy and not being good at things immediately and making mistakes, really embracing moving away from screens, getting out into the world and doing things that really make you feel good.
Keegan, how you feeling?
Good, thank you.
How's the morning been?
Yeah, pretty hectic at the moment.
Yeah.
Just lots of things to do.
What's happening at the minute?
Teaching, researching. We went to Melbourne for a symposium and we are learning all about lifestyle psychiatry and how those sorts of elements impact mental health.
All the fun things. How do you balance not only like the teaching part of it, but then also like all your own research? Because you've been doing, I know you've written so many articles and you're very much like in the research side of it, plus you have a family and you're doing everything that you do. How do you balance all of that?
The way I look at it is that I don't consider teaching and research like a job. I really enjoy doing these things. So I don't get up and go to work every day. I just get up and do the things that I enjoy. So they kind of bleed into life. And that's why I get so many things done, I think. But also learning about self-care and how to add more whimsy and slowness to life is also important because you can't produce 100% at all times. You have to like slow down and you have to like have space. And then you do better when you come back to the productive stuff, if you know what I mean.
It's like we can't be 100% productive all the time. We can't be go, 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 optimize everything. How do we be 100% all the time without the rest?
Unless you're Keegan.
I don't think that's I don't think that's right at all. Well, it's so I'm so glad that we actually are having this conversation today because probably a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, we were talking about potential topics of this Psychology of series, and you brought up a really good one was like this rise of this whimsical era, and me being like obviously no idea with what the younger generation are talking about. You're like, yeah, it's like this idea of almost like being more wholesome, I guess, and kind of getting away from the mundane and doing stuff that is more of our day to day and almost like romanticizing the small things. Can you tell us like what like this whole rise of the whimsical era is and what even is whimsy?
Okay, so the rise of the whimsical era has been happening recently, and it is like this slowing down of life and romanticizing these small moments, and really it has a lot to do with mindfulness and self-care. And really it really feeds into like nostalgia as well, like looking back on the things that you liked to do when you were a child or things that made you feel good as a child and tapping into those as well. And it came about this rise of whimsy because there's this revolt at the moment, particularly in young people, against screens. Constantly looking at screens, constantly being on screens, but also generative AI. So in the last year or so, generative AI is being used and producing like these refined, polished like outputs.
Have you seen that with students coming through submitting some assignments and exams?
It actually makes their writing better. And we are as universities are now moving towards like really embracing AI, but the younger generations are moving against it because they're starting to see on their TikTok and on their Instagram reels, everything's like perfect and precise. And Gen AI produces these polished kind of images and outputs, but imperfection is what makes us human, right? And so whimsy is also this move towards living an imperfect life and having things that are messy and not being good at things immediately and making mistakes, really embracing moving away from screens, getting out into the world and doing things that really make you feel good. And it's really funny because the first I heard of whimsy was when the younger generation started making these things called analog baskets.
Okay. What's an analog basket?
So an analog basket is a basket where you put your phone into the basket or a box with other things that are not screen-based.
Yeah.
So knitting, sewing, puzzle books, crosswords, packs of cards, arts and crafts, all that sort of thing
Mm.
in this basket so that when you go and reach for your phone, because the amount of times that we reach for our phone and it's not to answer a phone call or a text or to do something, it's just habit now.
Yeah.
This automatic reaching for your phone. So when you do an automatic reach for your phone in your analog basket, you reach for one of the other things instead of staring at the screen.
I love that because we get in such a habit of like, oh, I'll just check my phone. It's probably nothing, but I'll just check it. And then we get stuck in the scroll. We get stuck on just playing on whatever your vice is. But instead, when you look at it, you can be like, oh, it's almost like a trigger of awareness for you to be like, okay, I'm not going to pick up my phone. I'm going to do something a bit more wholesome and whimsy.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So how many hours on average do you think an average Australian person looks at their screen per day?
Oh, on app 3, 4?
7 hours
That's
per
so
day
wild.
on average. So you can go into your phone and check your screen time, right? I've gotten mine down to like 2.5, but the average Australian looks at their screen for 7 hours.
That's like a full work day.
That's crazy.
That is a full work day.
Mm-hmm.
That is so wild to think about. Probably at the end of last year, me and my partner, we were listening to a podcast, The Imperfects, and Ryan Shelton was talking about how he got off his phone, and he has this whole incredible podcast about how he got off his phone and how it made him more present with his friends, how he was excited to see his friends, how it made him more creative, how he was writing more, and how it made him just like a better person. We're at a good spot now where the phone doesn't live in our bedrooms, and I think I've been so much more intentional about not being on my phone. And to be honest, Megs, I feel so much better when I'm not on it. And I can tell the difference when I have my social media on during the day and I'll just go and I'll check it and I'm influenced by the outside world, my peers and things that I'm like curious about. But I can tell when I'm not on it. So if I like go out, I go for a morning walk, I come back, I still haven't checked my phone. My phone might be bricked. So bricked is like a little device where you can like tap on and tap off and it shuts down all your social media apps. I've gone a full day without looking at my socials instead of the afternoon. And I feel so much more present. I feel more like clear and focused and like know what I have to do. I feel like when I'm on my phone, I feel very scrambled and like almost like my mind's in a whole different area and maybe like my thoughts are potentially influenced by the social media, right? And so when you're talking about like this whole like almost like a digital detox and anti-screen and anti-phone, how that's included in Whimsy, when you said that, I was like, that's so cool. I'd love to flesh that out.
Yeah, and you're seeing a lot now. Young people are like doing things like bricking their phone or turning their screens to like grayscale so that it's not interesting to look at. They're turning on like there's all these screen time features where you can turn apps off. This really shows that people really want to be away from staring at their screens, and because it's such an addictive thing, it's really hard to combat that. And so this rise of whimsy is really about, as well as this, it's also like an anti-consumerism thing. So it's about not going out and over-consuming, not being overproductive. It's like it's a revolt against hustle culture.
Yeah.
It's like this slowing down, self-care. What are the things that we can do? So in a moment when we talk about what sort of things we can do to add whimsy, one of the things I want to really focus on is like, don't go out and purchase and buy things to make your world more whimsical. It's all about going out and finding things slowly and building a whimsical life around yourself. You were telling me about your garden and how amazing it is out there. You've like slowly planted your passion fruit and your basil and cut your lime tree back, and you were showing me parts of the garden that you want to do later, and it's this slowness of you don't have to do things immediately. Everything doesn't have to happen right now, which is what screens are, right? I get my information immediately every couple of seconds.
Yeah.
So it's like slowing down and doing things slowly. Recently, I repainted all the cabinetry in my kitchen like marshmallow pink.
Yeah, I love this.
I did it while the two boys were away on a motorbike weekend.
Okay.
So they came back to this. Painted strawberries and cherries on there.
Did you tell them that you were going to do it?
Yeah, they knew I was going to do
Imagine
it.
if they just came back and they're like, Mum, what's going on?
So that's adding whimsy, but it's also I purposely did it slowly because the way that I normally am is I'm real fast. I'm really good at doing things quickly. My time management is excellent, but I do things fast. I make mistakes. So with this activity, it was the entire weekend. The boys were gone for the whole weekend, and I'm like, right, I did it properly. I washed all the cabinets with sugar soap. I sanded the cupboards down. I primed them. I put one coat on. I waited the amount of time you're supposed to wait between coats.
Yeah.
I put another coat on.
Yeah.
I put a coat of clears on. And this took 3 days to do the whole process. I painted the cherries and the strawberries. I put the stickers on. Then I did clear coats over the top. The whole process was whimsical, not just because it was marshmallow pink, but because it was the whole process of slowing down. I didn't open my computer the entire weekend and do any work, which I usually do. I couldn't look at my phone the entire time because I was doing something that wasn't phone related, right?
Yeah.
So it's that process as well.
You said something at the start of the podcast, or you alluded to it, that being slow and slowing down and pausing actually makes us better than going fast, fast, fast. Why is actually slowing down better for us in the long term, or even medium to long term, than just going at 100% all the time, as I very much fall into, which I'm trying to be better at?
So you might need to do another Psychology of series on the 4-day work week.
Yep.
And really dive into the science behind why people are actually more productive doing a 4-day work week than they are doing 5. And I don't have the science on me right now, but there is a real connection between space and being able to function better at work. So the employees at Google and the way that Google is set up in America is it's fun. You can work on bean bags. You can work at tables if you want. There's this, it's fully steeped in positive psychology theory.
Yeah.
They have these sleeping pods
at
Google where you can go and have a sleep for an hour and then go back to work.
That's so sick.
And the productivity at Google is they're one of the best employers in the world because of all of these things that they put in.
What is it about actually slowing down or giving themselves an hour to have a sleep during the day, or being out in nature? What is it about those things that will make it better? Because I'm thinking from a listener point of view, even just from my own personal point of view, because it is something I'm starting to implement or want to implement more. It's well, if I take half an hour to go for a long walk out in the sun to get a coffee midday and be more productive in the afternoon. Is that kind of where we're at? What happens in our brain when this is happening?
Because when you're doing, so you're on the computer and you're typing or you're reading or you're doing or you're podcasting or you're out on the football field, you're doing, right? When you are not doing, your brain has time to rest and relax and actually think. So some of the best research ideas I have ever had have all happened on a massage table.
Really?
Yeah.
You have a little notepad next to your massage
well,
table.
that's the whole point of not doing that. It's because it's the only time that my brain is able to stop and think without being able to note something down, write something down, and interrupt the flow of my thoughts, right?
Interesting.
So, and qualitative research, which is a research on words and written artifacts in the world, it's all about getting close to data, moving away from data, and this whole idea that your best work happens when you're not actually producing. So you're we tell our qualitative research students to drive in the car without any noise on.
Yeah.
Because your brain goes into this mode of just thinking and that kind of positive rumination, which we talked about.
Yeah.
And then, or we say go for a walk, but don't put pods in. Just go and walk and think.
Is that why people
Running as well is amazing.
is that why people talk about, "Oh, I had so many great ideas in the shower?"
Yep,
Yeah,
100%.
same.
Yeah,
Because you can't take notepads into the
or a
shower
phone.
or a
No
phone.
phone in the shower,
Yeah,
right? And, like, when you're running, you can't look at your phone.
exactly.
So it's like giving your brain time to stop and rest.
Mm,
And we used to do this a lot before phones came around, right?
mm,
Because you would have moments of boredom where
mm,
your brain got to stop and relax
mm.
and actually have thoughts. What do we do in those moments now? Stand in a line, sitting at the restaurant waiting for your food to come out.
Yeah.
We look at our screens and
Mm,
it's habitual and we all do it. So, yeah, this whole rise of whimsy is like a revolt against that and giving our brains space to
mm.
stop, relax, rejuvenate. And it's all self care, right?
So do you think it's important to be bored? You mentioned boredom, how like we fill our boredoms with watching a TV series, or I'm sitting here waiting for a friend, I'll just like stay on my phone, or I'll like scroll on my phone, because it's almost like it'd be kind of weird to be sitting out in society now, just standing there and like listening to people, or listening to the birds chirp or whatever, instead of being on your phone. Do you think? And then
I think you're exactly right. Like, I'll walk out on the balcony at home and my son's father will be sitting there
yeah.
staring at nothing. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Sitting?" And I'm like, "What? Staring at nothing?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking."
Yeah.
And so it's unusual because we're so used to people being like
Mm,
constantly like entertaining our brains.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of my friends, he's just had 3 months off social media. He sort of like put it away for a little bit. And we went for a surf last week, and I said, "Oh, well, how are you feeling about it?" It's like, mate, it was really interesting. I was having dinner with a group of friends. A lot of them were in that like social media crowd. So they were like taking videos of the food and messaging on the table, and it was all these things. And he's like, I was kind of just sitting there, not on my phone, a couple months off social media, kind of off my phone altogether. And I was kinda, like, zoomed out. I was kinda, like, outside of the matrix looking in and thinking it wasn't like a smugness, but it was definitely like "Oh, I know that I'm feeling a lot better now looking at this zoomed out, where I'm not so indulged in what are other people gonna be thinking about me, or if I like, oh, I need to post this really awesome dinner because it'll signify that I'm doing really well, or that I'm, socializing with other people. I'm like showcasing that. But instead, it's like I was zoomed out of it and I could be really present with what I was doing. And so when I hear about like this whole whimsical area, or like gardening, or like sitting in stillness, or having just like really enjoying a cup of tea, we've got a couple green teas here, sitting and really enjoying it, it kind of reminds me of like just being more present and like allowing us to be more present.
And you've
That's kind
touched
of
on something really important there, is that a lot of the things that we do nowadays because of social media is performative.
mm,
So, like, what we wear is for other people's gaze.
mm,
What we do is for other people. So, this idea behind whimsy is that you do things only for you, right?
mm,
So, a really good example of this, and the best way to start building whimsy is in the bedroom at nighttime. So, like making your room all soft lighting, doing like lamps. Go get a lamp from like an antique store or like a secondhand place that's like really
yeah,
old school. Put a really like orange globe in it. Don't turn like
mm,
bright lights on, but make your bedroom space whimsical. Like put on really nice sheets.
mm,
Put on a pajamas just for yourself that like make you smile or make you happy. Like, do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, put on cartoon pajamas or something that
yeah,
makes you smile. Get into bed, maybe make yourself, like, a chamomile tea in,
mm,
like, a really, interesting cup, like what
mm,
you've got here that you got from Japan, like some mismatch crockery and
yeah,
cutlery, right? And read a book that's not on a screen if
mm,
you can, but try and, like, read a genre that you, like, not normally would, like, read something romantic
yeah,
potentially. Even if you're a man, like, read
mm,
a romantic book and really romanticize your sleeping space. And that's also going to hit on one of the 5 pillars of well-being, which is sleep quality, right?
Mm.
So that sleep is like the foundation of wellness. If you sleep well, the rest of your well-being will be pretty good.
Mm.
So making that space really romantic and romanticized just for you. Don't film yourself doing it and romanticizing your space and then put it on
Yeah.
the internet. No, whimsy is about you and it's only for you. So it's the absence of performatism as
Mm.
well.
And I imagine it's probably like everyone's whimsy is probably like a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like I imagine like my partner loves pottery. Like imagine that's probably her like whimsical act, but that might be so different. Like I imagine like reading would be really great, gardening, going on sunrise walks or nature walks. Like I feel like everyone might have their own little version of whimsical.
Which is the same as all things in life.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
not all one cookie cutter of each other.
Mm.
We all have preferences. We all like different things. So you can like look up some things that you can do for whimsy and we can give some examples, but you
Mm.
really tailor it to what you like. I really liked your example that you told me about the farmer's market. Like there's nothing
Mm.
more whimsical to me than walking along with a basket,
Yeah.
looking at produce that's been like grown by farmers who are local,
Yeah.
got little bloody stickers on them,
Yeah.
and looking at art maybe that's there and handmade and homemade and secondhand items
Mm.
and like maybe getting like a hot churros or something from the markets. There's nothing more whimsical than doing something like that on a
Mm.
Sunday morning.
Mm.
But it's all about how you frame it in your head.
Mm.
You can go to the farmer's market and drive down there and walk around and then get back in the car and come back. And it's not going to be the same
Yeah.
as this. You have to kind of romanticize it in your own head. You have to like
Yeah.
tell yourself a little story about like what you're doing.
Mm.
And so whimsy is all about that. It's about how you frame the everyday mundane things
Mm.
and turn them into something that makes you feel good.
Like the start of this year has been for me like probably one of the most like stressful times. I found out like my partner was pregnant. You know, we're getting into this new studio. We're trying to build this new studio. We're podcasting. Had to stop study for this like semester. We got back from Japan maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. You know, my garden was a mess. I was like, okay, I'm dedicating my weekend just to fixing up the garden, mowing the grass. I had to, like you said, I had to cut back the lime tree. I wanted to plant all this fresh produce because I want to be able to eat my food from my own home. And I spent the whole weekend doing that mix. And it was incredible. I didn't have my phone on me. I was really ingrained with the tasks I had to do. I had a chainsaw out and I was like cutting down wood. And there was this one time where I was just like, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, I just cut down my lime tree. I probably had almost 10 kilos of limes just sitting there, which I'm like, and I was sitting there thinking, I was like, okay, well, cutting down all this wood that I'm actually going to keep for when we put the fireplace in upstairs. So I'm going to actually burn this wood from a tree that I planted 7 years ago. I'm probably going to have a lime, probably in a Corona upstairs, like as I'm doing this, or maybe I'll use the lime in like some sort of dessert or like meal. And I was thinking about like this whole like circle of life of like just from planting this tree like 7 years ago, cutting it down, using it as firewood. And at the end of the day, I was sitting there and I looked at like everything I'd done and I was like, first of all, the day went so quickly. Like it just flew. Like I was in full flow state. I was like, I feel so incredibly good. Felt so incredibly clear. Felt like I had time to think through certain things. Sometimes I was thinking, sometimes I was just going through the flow. And I felt incredible. And so that's why I was just like, okay, well, I feel like this is really important to talk about because this whole rise of the whimsical era generally makes you feel good. It makes you feel clear. It makes you feel wholesome. It makes you just feel like, oh, everything is going to be okay.
Yeah.
And no matter how stressful life can get, when we have these little things that we can do, like going to the farmers markets or doing our pottery or, you know, doing whatever the thing is, at the end of the day, it's going to make you feel really nice. And so that's when I was like, okay, I would really love to do a podcast on this.
And you've tapped into like what we spoke about right at the beginning about whimsy has this attachment to nostalgia, right?
Mm.
And what you just spoke about is the nostalgia, like doing things from scratch. Here's a tree I planted from a seed. It grew. Now I'm pulling a lime off the tree and I'm also cutting it back with the chainsaw and then I'm going to use that wood for something else. It's like this going back to how life was when we were kids,
Mm.
like before screens were around. And there's this urge now to go back to that kind of feeling of nostalgia of how things used to be before phones were around.
Yeah.
So, and that's exactly what you can do with Whimsy. Like, you don't have to spend money to do it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things with Whimsy is like going and getting all mismatched cutlery and crockery from like a secondhand shop.
Yeah, I love
Like,
that.
you go to a cafe, there's some on the Gold Coast here where they give you the old Nana cups and plates.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's great. Get
Yeah.
all different ones, put them in your kitchen, but don't go out and buy them all
Mm.
straight away. As your plates and cups
Mm.
like break,
Yeah.
just start replacing them with like different things that are all mismatched.
Yeah.
That's Whimsy, right? And learning to do new things, like go and learn how to sew, go and learn how to knit, go and learn ballroom dancing, like, or the male equivalents of those things. Like they're like Whimsy is all about like exploring new things. Like bookstores are whimsical.
Yeah.
But people forget libraries exist. Like in
Mm.
Australia, we have the best library system. Walk around the library, check out the books that are in there. They're free to read.
I was gonna when originally before you came in, I was thinking around like being whimsical, and I listened to a few podcasts that you sent through, and a lot of the content was very feminine based. Like it was all about the girlies talking about going to their farmers markets, and I was like, well, can whimsical be male as well?
You're going to have to tell me that.
I think it can. I think it can.
Well, why don't you tell me the things that you do that are whimsical?
Well, to be honest, cutting up that wood with the chainsaw was awesome. Like,
Yeah.
I felt incredible, like making things with our hands. Like, I
Yeah.
think that's really cool. Not that I'm handy by any means, but I really love the fact of, building a deck, or we this morning we put up this like lighting system in the studio, and I thought that was like really cool to do. I love gardening. I love reading as well. Last night we just got a record player, so we would like grab a record, we put it on, and we just read. And we obviously don't have like any big main lights on. We usually just have like little lamps. But I love doing that stuff, and I was like, oh well, I wonder, is that more like feminine, whimsical, like doing that stuff? But this is stuff that I like. And
Yeah, exactly.
maybe I'm just that way inclined. I'm not sure.
The record itself is very whimsical because it's so old school, right?
Mm.
And we don't have to listen to things on record because we have streaming devices.
Yeah.
But that record player example is perfect.
Yeah.
That is whimsical. Putting a record on, lighting a few candles, sitting there, being able to read. There's a lot of whimsical playlists that you can listen to as well, like what's the French cafe playlist.
Okay. Is that the go-to?
Yeah, but you can also do dark whimsy, right?
Okay.
So like dark whimsy is like the old bohemian kind of gothic 90s kind of music that was out.
Yeah.
Like that's very dark whimsy. So whimsy doesn't have to be all this floral pastel female. It can be dark whimsy, right? So what makes you feel whimsical and dark, like things like that. And the male side of things is very interesting to me.
But you can also see this rise as well with technology that's coming out as well. Like we talked about the brick. I imagine like people buying a device that locks certain apps on your phone is a very whimsical device. Even record players, like there are brand new, almost like trendy record players that are designed to be old school. Well, they obviously are an old school device, but they're bringing them out new school.
Yep.
There's also an incredible company, I think I was telling you the other day, where it's like an old school like plug-in phone that has the dial where you actually, if you like, you have the dial to actually call the number. But what you can do is it connects to your phone via Wi-Fi. So if someone was to call your phone while you're connected to it, it would actually call like the home phone. And so it's so old school. So you look at all these like new technology that's coming through, and it's like, well, obviously there's a need or a want to be more whimsical and like to get away from those things. And you can even see it with like in-person events. Like start of this year, we hosted a trail run club from here because there's a beautiful trail behind our house. And we thought, oh, we'll do like 30, 50 people might come. We'll just put it up on socials and we'll just see what kind of traction we can get. We want to do like more community events with the podcast. And we had like 200 people sign up overnight. And I was like, oh my God, my house is not equipped for that many people. So we had to put sold out. But we had the most incredible morning. So many people came down. We had like a coffee and like LSKD were there and Sun Devil were there. So it was like, okay, it was a cool vibe. It was very Western themed. So we had like horses rolling through as well. It was a vibe. Like it was sick. But then I was talking to crew and a lot of people were like, oh, I want to do more of these community events. Like I want to do more in-person events. And I was like, I wonder if that's just because like we've been so absorbed in our phones for so long. We're almost like craving human connection.
I agree with that. And social connection is definitely something that has been, considering how connected we are,
Yeah.
loneliness is increasing. The more social media gets popular, the more loneliness increases. And we're looking for connection outside of screens.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you were talking about like the cowboy theme. So things like that are whimsical. So that it's like getting dressed up and costumes. And like we used to love that when we were in our 20s. Why do we stop doing things like that? And so one of the whimsical things that I like to do is I've got this tiara.
I've never seen you at uni with a tiara on.
No. So I used to wear it when I was in my 20s all the time when I went out. Like I was just a princess. And then I haven't worn it in 25 years. I now use it to hold my hair back while I'm doing my makeup in the morning. So I'm like looking in the mirror and I have my tiara on while I'm doing my makeup. So that's whimsical, right?
I would have loved for you to come in here with the tiara on.
But
that would have been great content.
Like that's the whole thing, right? Whimsy isn't for other people.
Exactly.
And it's also about embracing cringe. Embracing being cringy because no one else is like going to like troll you or say that's stupid or because you're only doing the thing for yourself.
Yeah.
So it's the same as like the pajamas with the cartoon characters on it. That's just for you. No one gets to say their opinion about that.
Yeah.
Same with my tiara. No one's going to pay me out about it because I'm the only one who's sitting there doing it.
Yeah.
So whimsy, this non-performative side of whimsy is, I think it's also a really important component about being able to dress up and maybe have a dance party in the morning with yourself. Like turn your favorite tunes on, your bangers on and like dance in the morning. I did this recently and my 13-year-old was not happy at all. So anything that a 13-year-old would think is cringy, that's whimsy.
Something to look forward to.
So whatever makes you happy, like sing. I can't sing, but I do in the car.
Yeah.
That's whimsy, right?
That's also going to release a whole heap of dopamine as well. Like not even just singing, but humming as well. Actually, singing loud in a car, I reckon that works. That works really well.
It does. And like tap into your old school music that you used to listen to back in the day. Listen to soundtracks or like Spotify playlists from when you were a kid. And you're like, oh, I forgot that song even existed.
Yeah.
It's real cool.
The last thing I want to touch on before we finish up, because social media, our screen, peers, outside influences play so much of an influence on who we are. I imagine there can probably be a sense of like loss of self or trying to figure out who am I? Is there any literature or I guess like research or any things that you've come across where it's just like there has almost been like a loss of identity through this rise of social media?
Yeah, so if you think about those formative years in identity between like the ages of like 13 and 20, 24, where you're really finding out who you are and what you like and what your opinions are and what your beliefs are. If you are being constantly bombarded on social media by these curated images and videos and ideas of what other people are and do, then it can be quite confusing in your own identity formation. So this whole rise of whimsy and being able to be more whimsical is really tapping into what you actually like when you're not trying to impress someone else. Yeah. So, just getting out there and doing things like from scratch as well. Like my 13-year-old has just recently learned how to bake bread. Like
he's an old soul. We're talking about that. He's an old soul.
Old soul. And just being able to like do things for yourself. And like while in the process of him baking bread, was he on his phone? No. He was like doing something with his hands. It was very tactile. He was in the kitchen and he was learning a skill that maybe he could take it to his future, right? So cooking, baking, doing things from scratch is also another way to like instill more whimsy. And you were saying before, like you're at this point in your life where you're having a baby.
Mm.
And I'm like, that is one of the best points in life where you can like really lean into whimsy as well. Because you're like,
Mm.
it's the whole nesting period, right? They talk
Yes.
about nesting. Well, that is whimsy. It's
Mm.
like creating spaces and like making things beautiful and soft
Yeah.
and for the baby. So you're right on the precipice of being able to like really lean into this whole whimsy
Mm.
idea. I did my entire pregnancy in a whimsical way where I went out and found everything secondhand.
Oh,
Yeah.
love
But
this.
you have to do it slowly because you can't just like go out online, find the thing you want and click it
Mm.
and buy it. You have to like go and search for it. And the whimsy is in the searching and the finding
Did you
of
like it?
the things. I loved it.
Yeah.
Everything that Byron wore, every piece of furniture, every pram, every single thing was secondhand
Mm.
and had a story, right? And
Love
then
this.
once Byron grew out of the things, which was very quick, we resold them.
Mm.
So other people could then use them, right?
Yeah.
And so I've taken that and I practice that in my life now. Like
Mm.
every single outfit that I have is secondhand. Has cost me less than $6.
Yeah.
Every single one. I have 91 dresses hanging.
Wow.
Everything that I do is I try to lean into this like going and searching for a piece and like finding it. It has to be perfect for my personality. And you
Yeah.
try on all different things. And most of the 90% of the things that you try on or you look at in a
Mm.
secondhand store do not suit you, but you'll find the one thing and take it home and it's unique. And no one ever has the same thing as you.
Yeah.
And so it's this like really leaning into like it's slowing down. It's about the searching for and the finding of. And that's how things used to be.
Mm.
Like now we can just like basically take a photo of something we want and Google will find it and then we
Yeah.
can buy it. Like
Mm.
we never used to be able to do that. It used to always be about going out and searching
Mm.
and finding. And then it's more rewarding and you appreciate the thing much more because
Mm.
of the time it took to find it.
To be honest, this is how I want to live my life. I feel like I do it in parts really well, but there's certain things that I definitely want to implement. And I think it starts with just the awareness, like listening to podcasts like this or doing certain things that really light you up. I feel like this is just such an awesome starting point.
It's also about removing rules though, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to be whimsical all the time.
Mm.
Just those little moments where you can stop and really appreciate things. It's all about that gratitude.
Yeah.
Like being grateful for what you have, being grateful for the wonderful country that we live in.
Yeah.
We have the best weather here. Being grateful for like being able to like go and jump in the ocean 1 second and then 10 minutes later drive up to the rainforest and go for a hike. Like
Yeah.
gratitude, whimsy, it's all comes hand in hand.
Beautiful. Thanks, Vince.